Hey treasures, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so I'm gonna sound a little bit off in this video because I am sick. Anyways, I kind of just wanted to get this video out of the way, and not necessarily because I didn't want to film and continue this story, but because I didn't want to continue the story. And the story is finally coming to an end, so I thought I would just hurry up and get it over with, because I've kind of been like trying to film these videos and rehashing everything just kind of makes you feel stupid. And me thinking about, okay, what happened this time, what happened this time, what happened this time, and then like thinking about when I rewatch my videos and I'm like, oh, I forgot this part, and it's just like, it's frustrating. So I'm going to try and wrap this story up in a nice, neat little bow as best as I can, and kind of go over the parts that I missed as well that are kind of like important now as I'm gonna go to the conclusion of the story. So if you want to know the rest about the Psycho Sag, then let's just jump right on into it today. I forgot to tell you guys about the time that him and I had gotten into this big fight where he actually kind of left me, and basically him and I had like gone through like a breakup stitch type of thing. So this is what happened. I was texting him like I normally do, like every single day, and he was telling me that he was just like hanging out and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, okay. So I get into work and I see Carla with like her man and then like some of their friends. And so when I get into work and like Carla's man comes to me and he tells me that, hey, we're gonna see your boy tonight coming here, and I was excited because obviously man like never came into work, like he never came to work. And I was partly jealous that Carla's man did, and I was partly not jealous because in my head I'm thinking, okay, you know where I work at a bar, you and your friends go to a bar, you're not really going to be distracting me if you just come and say what's up, or you come up towards like the tail end of my shift and then me and you end up meeting up and going somewhere. Like that's what Carla's man did. However, I also didn't want him to come up some part of it, because if I was to have a male customer and me and that male customer were like getting along, Sag is very, very jealous, and he just doesn't think like anything can be platonic, I feel like. So if he was to see that happening, I feel like that would get me into like trouble or like get us into a fight. So I also kind of like didn't want him to like see me like that, but at the same time I did want like my man to like pop up and like be like a good boyfriend to me. Obviously me and him are texting, and I'm at work, so I'm not texting like super frequently, but I'm like, he's not telling me anything. After we're done, they're like, oh, you're gonna come with us? And I was like, well, yeah, if like my man's coming. And they're like, yeah, like he's probably gonna come. So I'm thinking, okay, cool. So we get to like this bar, and the two other guys, I'm not gonna give them names, but like they had been here like all the time. So we're there with them, and then obviously Carla's there with like her man and stuff. And I'm like texting my man, but like he's kind of like going more like infrequent, and I can kind of tell that he had like started drinking. So I was like, oh, okay, so I guess he's like, I'm like just confused about the whole thing, and I'm just waiting for him to be like, okay, we're coming, or like, okay, where are you, you know? Of course, like all these people are older than me, right? So I don't want to be like the young girl that is like, oh, like where's my boyfriend, like I want my boyfriend to be here, like, you know, I don't want to be like that. But at the same time I was like, where's my boyfriend, I want my boyfriend to be here. He asked me like, hey, like what are you doing? And I tell him, I'm like, oh, like I'm at the bar with like your friends. Goes immediately off on me when he's like, oh, so you're not even gonna invite me? And I'm just thinking in my head like, what the fuck, like did they not tell you about this? Because they told me like before we even got here, like they told me at the beginning of my shift that I was gonna be seeing you tonight. So I'm just confused about the whole thing. And he's like, oh sure, yeah. And so I try and call him because I'm like a grown-ass bitch, okay? Like I don't need to be trying to hash out a fight that's not even a fight to me, because it's just stupidity and it was just told by idiots, you know what I'm saying? He's not answering my call, and then he texts me and he's like, sorry, like on the phone. And I'm like, okay, well then call me when you're not on the phone. And I just don't hear from him for like the rest of the night. And so I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, what the fuck, there's no way he's mad, right? So I go and I talk to Carla about it, because I'm not gonna talk to these mans about it, like fuck them. So I go and talk to Carla, and she's like, no girl, like it's probably fine, like he's probably just being drunk and stupid. And I'm like, okay. But I have this like this like gut feeling, and everybody knows like that gut feeling that you have with your man and stuff, right? So I'm just like, oh fuck. So I get home and I text him like, oh, I'm home now, and he texts me back and he's like, why are you talking to me? And I'm just like, again, I'm just confused. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, well, why wouldn't I? And he was like, I seriously don't know why you're talking to me. And so honestly, I just like stopped talking to him at that point because I was like, I'm tired now. Like, I don't even want to like deal with this bullshit. Like, I'm just gonna go to bed and hope and pray that tomorrow, like, he's gonna sleep on it, I'm gonna sleep on it, and we wake up and then we can like fix this stupid ordeal, right? So I wake up and I don't have a text from him, and I'm just thinking like, what the fuck? So again, I'm just like, as I'm telling all these stupid fucking stories that happened with this man or this little child, that I was just on the longest episode of Pranked ever. That's like honestly what I think. And I still didn't get like them showing up to my house and being like, oh, pranked, like, but I think that's what this was. I try and text him and he's not talking to me. Like, he did not talk to me the entire day. And I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like super, super sad. And at this point, I remember like one of my best friends just like sleeping over, and I couldn't even like enjoy her because obviously like every single person, like when you and your partner are like on the outs, like you got like your whole world is not right, right? So I remember I like call Carla and I'm like telling her about this whole situation, and I'm just like, please, 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 like, help me fix this. Help me. Like I said, we were really sporadic and when we hang out, and it was always like on his fucking terms. So I was just like, how the fuck am I supposed to know like I have any power in this relationship? And it literally just felt like I was powerless because he decided fucking everything. As I'm like trying to go through this, I'm just thinking in my head, I'm just like, oh my god, not another thing. And basically, because I don't want to get like too nitty gritty into it, because I really want to like end this series now, and I don't want to have another video, and I don't want this video to be like 2 hours long. I begged for Carla to help me, and so she went to go see him. And basically, like, when she told me, like, okay, he said he's gonna call you or whatever, him and I were, like, texting at that point, and he was basically, like, letting me go, honestly, and I was begging for him to stay, and I'm not ashamed to admit that because I feel like sometimes you have to fight for what you want, and for some very deluded reason, I wanted him, and I was not gonna let him go fucking anywhere. And I knew, too, as well as, like, all of this, and I don't really, like, think that every girl should fight for every single guy. At the time of me fighting for him, it was kind of just like the first time I'd ever like fought for anybody, because I don't fight for guys. Like, if a guy wants to like not be with me anymore, I'm like, peace the fuck out. I don't need to be with you either. So, but with him, I knew that him letting me go was more of an insecurity on himself than it was about me, and I wanted to show him like, you do deserve me if you let yourself deserve me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that the type of person that I am and like what I bring to the relationship, and I know that can kind of be like intimidating, and I feel like I did intimidate him. Even though he was older than me, I felt like I really was intimidating to him, and so he kind of like took every single out that he could, but I wasn't gonna let him because I wanted him to like face it like a freaking man, and like we could have something like really good together if you just were a man, you know? Ended up calling me, and he yelled at me, and I was telling him like, you're wrong, like that's not what happened. And he's like, well, I talked to my friends and they said they never said that happened. And I'm like, hey, but you know your friends are drunk idiots and they don't remember half the shit that they say, so why is that even like a direct like connotation of like what happened? It's not. And eventually like I was just like, please, 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 like I'll make it up to you. And so then he gave me another chance, and I did make it up to him. Like, I took him out and I paid for like everything. Like, we went to the movies, we had like dinner, and then we were like talking and stuff like that, and I paid for like all of that. And oh my god, guys, I'm giving you a dates are fucking expensive. So after him and I had like gone to our like romantic like getaway and everything like that, and then things started to get worse and worse for him, it started to be like, okay, he was texting me every day, but it kind of was like the unspoken rule that I wasn't seeing him anymore, and I wasn't gonna see him anymore. And I was like, okay, you know what, he's figuring out his stuff, and he can't like afford to see me, even if I'm the one that's paying for it, because he's not the type of guy that like wants his girl to like pay and stuff like that. So it was like making him feel kind of like emasculated. So I was like, okay, I understand that. I don't want to be like any more of a problem. Like, I wasn't seeing him, and I was like, oh my god, I miss this guy so much. And because also too, like, him and I were just so much better together than apart anyways. Like, when we were together, there was no really like there was one, but like there was really like no misunderstandings. We just kind of like got each other. So I just liked being with him way more than being apart. And so I was just like, okay, like, just trying to be like the most like positive girlfriend that I could be. And it was like really hard. It was really hard because as much as like I wasn't seeing him anyways, it was annoying because it was like he started to not see anybody. Like, he started not to see his friends at all, and he was really like kind of like cutting down on it and just going for what he needed to do, which I was like, okay, at least if he's not seeing his friends, he's not seeing me, then we're kind of like, now we're at the same place in his life as before. Like, his friends are like up here and I was like fucking down here. So I was like, okay, cool. Then it turned out like he had gotten like good news and told me that he might be getting like something good that was happening to him. And I was like, perfect, whatever. And he's like, yeah, like, I should hear back on this day. Let's say it was like a Tuesday. And I was like, perfect. And so then after that, I didn't hear from him for like 4 days. And then he would kind of just like come in every now and then and just be like, hey, what's going on? Like, I hope you're good. It slowly went down to like 2 days of the week. And then at one point I didn't hear from him for, I say, like 3 weeks. And I remember all of my friends were kind of just like, girl, like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, I wish I knew. But it was like going through like a withdrawal, but it wasn't even that. It was more so just like, I wasn't gonna give up on this. Like, if I was to have someone like me and I was going through a tough time, and for someone to be there for me at the end, like, that person's amazing. Like, I would hands down like fucking like be with them forever, you know? Like, I'd make sure that they stayed in my life forever. And so I was like, I can't leave him with, you know, and I had like all these excuses to be like, nah, I'm not dropping this. Like, and like guys are trying to hit me and everything like that. And to me, honestly, I was still taken. Even if I hadn't heard from him in 3 weeks, like, I was still taken. And people were also coming at me, like, even my guy friends were like, girl, like, pretty sure like he's probably just like with someone new now. And I'm like, he's not with someone new. I know, like, and how our relationship was and the dynamic was, like, he wasn't even that type of guy that like sought out girls a lot, or like, I don't know, it was just weird. Like, I was like, I feel like a girl is the last thing on his mind, to be perfectly honest with you. And like, when it came to like sex in a relationship, whatever, I was always the person that kind of more so like initiated it and wanted it more than he did. So I was like, no, like, he's not going to anybody else. Like, I know. And then also too, like, his friends, like, I'd still see his friends here and there, and they'd be asking me like, what's up? And it's like, I'd get it if it was in the sense of like, okay, well, obviously, girl, like, they're gonna try and do that to like cover up his shady shit. But no, it wasn't like that, because you would think that they wouldn't bring it up unless I did, so they had to go and lie to me. But they would literally come up to me and ask me what is going on with him. I don't know, unless they wanted to do like the best game of like fooling somebody ever. I just honestly don't even believe it. I remember Carla's man, me and him were talking, and I was just like, honestly, it had been around like a month, I think, like maybe like a month and a half of this now, and I was like, please, like, just don't have like, let me be out here looking stupid, because at this point he had started calling me like his little sister. And I was like, don't have me out here looking stupid. Like, am I being fucking stupid? Like, have you seen him? Do you see him? Like, do you talk to him? Like, whatever. And he's like, no, we do not. None of us have seen him, like, spoken to him. Like, he will here and there, like, be like, yeah, I'm not dead. But, like, that's basically it. And I was like, okay. It had come around for my birthday, and I was like, I wonder if he's gonna even like text me, because at this point, like, things are not looking so good. I'm hearing from him probably like every other week now. It was like my birthday was coming up, and I was finding like, okay, I have like good friends around me, and like I'm gonna have fun tonight. But at the same point in time, like, I just wanted my man. Like, I remember when it was like August, this guy that I work with, he kept asking me, like, oh, what are you doing for your birthday? What are you doing for your birthday? And at this point, like, me and my man were, like, still, like, talking on the regs, and everything was kind of particularly normal. And he's like, what are you gonna do for your birthday? And I was just like, I'm gonna hang out with my man. Like, I didn't even want to, like, usually I would, like, plan something with my brother, and me and him were like go and like do something, but I was like, I don't even want to do that. I'm like, I'm old, like I'm grown. I don't want to do that. I just want to like go out to eat with my man and like that's it. I don't want to do anything else. And so that was my plan. And fast forward to, you know, him and I is talking every other week, and like it's not even a long conversation. I would say we could probably go back and send probably like 3 texts in that conversation, you know, like it's not really a fucking conversation at all. Anyways, so at this point, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna just have fun for my birthday as much as I can. And so I remember like Sunday, it was my birthday this year, and I was out to breakfast with my mom, and me and her were like talking and stuff like that, and I get a text from him and he said happy birthday, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he's gonna say happy birthday because honestly he put my birthday in his phone like when him and I were talking for like maybe like a month. So I was like, I know it's in his phone, like, and he's not gonna like take it out, like that's weird to do. So I was like, I know he's gonna know, but I just don't know if he's gonna text me. And then he's like, happy birthday, like hope you have a good one. And I was like, it'd be good if I could like see you for a little bit. And then of course I didn't get a fucking reply back. And so that night I went with my friends, and I was kind of just pissed off because I was like, the only thing I wanted to do for once was like when I was like, I couldn't be disappointed because I only wanted one person to be there, and it was my person, and I was disappointed because he wasn't fucking there. And so then I remember, fast forward a little bit, like I would say it was like 2-3 weeks later, and I was at work and I was talking to this girl at work, and she was like telling me, like asking me about my birthday and stuff like that, and was like, oh, like did your boyfriend show up? And I was like, no, like I haven't heard from him. And she was just like, wow, like I didn't think that like you'd be ghosted. And I was just like, I wasn't ghosted. Like that's the thing, like everyone was like, oh my god, like you got ghosted. And I'm like, I wasn't ghosted, because ghosted would be like I never heard from him again. Like I would hear from him, he would just slither in and out, you know, like I was not ghosted ever. So anyways, so like she was just like, wow, like I didn't think that would happen. And I was like, I wasn't ghosted. And I was telling her, and then she's like, honestly, if somebody that is your boyfriend cannot be there for you on your birthday, you have to drop them. And I don't know what it was. It was like the past like what, like it was like 3 months of weirdness between us, or like maybe 2. And I was just like, she's right. Like it was like I had literally just said like a couple days prior to this, like to one of my other friends, and they're like, your girl, like let him go. And I was like, no, like I am going to fight for him because he is the only thing I want, like whatever. And I was like, no, like it's not, I haven't reached my breaking point yet. And her saying that was my breaking point, and I just crumbled. I'm like at work, I am like trying to hold back tears, and one of my coworkers is like, are you okay? And I ran to the bathroom, and I'm bawling my eyes out, and I'm like, okay, like you're fine. And so I come back out, and I was just like, I went through like, it was so tough. And I remember I walked out of my work, and I'm like outside, and I'm bawling. Okay, like I'm like bawling on this like sidewalk. I was deteriorating like right before their eyes. And I remember one of my best friends just happened to like pull up there, and then she's like, oh my god, like what happened? And I'm like calling my sister, and I'm just bawling, and like I can't even talk, obviously, like. And then like my other best friend pulls up. I don't even know how, all of this was like weird because like they weren't even supposed to be there that day. And so everyone like pulls up, and I'm like on the phone, and like bawling, I can't even talk, like oh my god, it was such like it was horrible. And so at one point, like basically like they're like, okay, just send her home, like she can't work. And so I ended up going home with one of my best friends, and she's just telling me like, you will get through this, like you're one of the strongest people I know, and whatever. And so I ended up telling her that I broke up with him because I just couldn't take it anymore. So I sent him like the text in the bathroom. Once I went there, my coworker told me like the birthday thing. And I sent him a text message just saying, like, I cannot do this anymore. Like, this is, like, destroying me, whatever. And then I hit send, and that was it. And so yeah, like I ended up telling her like I broke up with him, and then she was just basically like, wow, like, and then she was like, I'm proud of you. And I was just like, it was the hardest thing I had to do, like basically like letting this go, because I fought and held on so hard, and it was basically just like the slap of reality in my face of it being like, it doesn't even matter sometimes how hard you fight, like you're not gonna win. How hard you fight, how much soul, how much heart you put into something does not mean that you're going to get it, does not mean that you're gonna win, does not mean it's gonna be successful. And that's the thing that like kills the most. So anyways, I ended up never getting a reply to this text that I sent, like basically like breaking up. And then like a few weeks later, I get a text message from him, and he is just like, hey, you good? And I'm just thinking, like, literally right above the text of him saying, hey, you good, is my breakup. And so I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck is going on? And so him and I were basically like talking like normal, like nothing fucking ever happened. And so let's fast forward, I would say like a couple months later. At this point, I'm basically like considering myself single. Birthday's in September. So let's fast forward to December. Yeah, so like the end of November. Yeah, the end of November. So I'm again hearing from him like here and there, and I don't even care to talk about me. Like I said, like I'm single, but like I'm still wishing him the best, if that makes any sense. And I'm still like, well, maybe if things turn around and he is like gets the help that he needs, and I mean psychologically, because clearly throughout this entire thing he's obviously kind of like a few screws loose, right? A chance of like being back together, you know, because I put, like I said, I put like my heart, I literally just put my entire being into this relationship. And like I could never ever say that for any other relationship that I've ever been in. Like I put everything into this. So as I'm like thinking this and stuff like that, I am considering myself to be single though. It is the end of November, and I am out with people, and I remember I was out with them, and I'm, like I said, this is the first time basically I'm like, not the first time, but this is like, I'm so single at this point, and I'm kind of like entertaining people like here and there, but at the same time, like I know I'm not ready to date, so it's just like for fun or whatever basically. And so I remember I'm like out with this person that wanted to like pursue me in the most like shallow way possible, which to me, and by that I just mean like sexually, obviously. So, and he was absolutely not my type, but again, like I'm single now, so I'm trying to like have fun. And so I remember we all went out, and I'm kind of like flirting with him, and he has like his arm around me, and then I look at my phone, and my phone is always on D&D, and I look at my phone, and I have a text message, and I look at it, and I open the text message, and it's like, are you good? And he's texting me like super late, which he never normally did. He usually texted me at like around like 6 o'clock or like 4 o'clock like p.m. And so he's texting me at like 1 a.m. and I'm just thinking like, what the fuck? And I remember I just like break down, and I walk outside, and Carla follows me, and she's like, what's going on? And I tell her what happened, and she basically is like telling me that like that's a good thing, like, and I was like, how is that a good thing? Like, he always disrupts me. Like, I'm literally starting to like remember life without him, and he comes back at these times where it's like it fucking destroys me, because he comes back, you know, and I need to have that not happen. And she's just basically like, girl, whatever you do is like the right thing for you. And so let's fast forward to December. I needed to forget about him. And so I was like, if you want to give it to your man, if you want to give it to your other man, like, I don't even care. Get this the fuck away from me. If you want to give it to your brother, your dad, just get it away from me. If you want to give it to him because it was meant for him, sure, but I don't care. I just need it out of my house. And honestly, part of me wanted her to give it to him because I was fine with us ending that way. Like, here is the basic, like, as a metaphor, here's everything that I was for you. Like, I was gold, and we're going to end it on me being gold. I got a call from him, and I was just like, I don't even care like to deal with this. And so I wake up, and I get a text from him, and it says, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, for real. Like, it really means a lot. And I was just like, wow. I had always said this to my friends and everybody, and I meant it. if you are going to screw up with me in a romantic sense or anything, like, at least you have to come correct. If you don't, I'm just more insulted than if you didn't say anything. I would have rather he didn't say anything than for him to say the fucking shit that he did. And let me tell you why. You talk to me for 3 weeks. You don't see me on my birthday. You are not talking to me. You are apparently good now because you texted me weeks ago telling me that you're straight now and hang out with your friends and shit, but you don't come and see me. You don't come and see me at any point in time. You know where I work. You know where I live. You have my number. You can call me. You don't do any of those things. The least you could do is text me and apologize, but you don't do any of that. You don't do any of that. And the last time I heard from you, you're telling me that you're not going to tell me what the fuck happened when your life, when you told me something really, really wrong happened. You're not going to tell me what happened because you don't trust me to keep it to myself. Even though there was so much shit that I kept to myself in our relationship, and that never got out. But you, however, can't tell me what the fuck happened to take you away from me because you don't trust me. Come correct or don't come at all. And so I texted him and I was like, you know what? If you want to do this, I'm clearly not going to get what I deserve in this relationship. So I'm out. You don't need to talk to me at all. If you want to give me my shit back and everything like that you owe me, then perfect. You can give it to Carla. And here is my email. And we're done. And so then I blocked him because there was no really reason why I needed to not have him blocked, because again, like I said, every single time he texted me, it disrupted me and I was over it. This entire story, this little conclusion, I wanted to show you guys like the start and the end of a toxic relationship. And as much as like these people tell me that, oh, like they thought that I was too young, like I was gonna be a problem. It was like, no, I was the best thing. Your boy was the entire problem. Like, I wasn't too young. I wasn't too immature. I wasn't a cheater. I wasn't a player. Like, I wasn't any of that stuff. I was the best thing that he was ever going to get. And I know that. I know that because someone that's even like in a higher ranking than me, like right now and success-wise in life, they would never put up with that shit. Like, they wouldn't even open the door for him, you know? I am not in a higher rank in my life right now, but emotionally and maturity-wise, I was way too high for him, obviously. And he cannot handle it. As much as I was willing to, like, basically, like, dim myself down so I could, like, be there for him and, like, help him, like, get up to my level, in that sense, it doesn't work because, like, he doesn't know what to do. Like, he doesn't have those tools. And this just shows that, like, even though someone's psycho, it's, like, sometimes it's not their fault. And you try and help them, but you cannot help them unless they want to help themselves and they want to see themselves for, like, what it is. And, like, he was never, like, gonna be willing to do that. So I could never be with him then, basically, was that. I hope this story shed some light on why I'm basically, like, disturbed now and when it comes to dating. And I hope this kind of showed you, like, thankfully, like, I wasn't in a completely, like, horrible situation, but as much as I'm telling you guys and, like, bearing my truth and, like, telling you guys what happened, there is some stuff I'm not saying because the toxicity, like, wasn't just gaslighting, you know, and, like, him having, like, total control, like, it wasn't even just that, it was also, like, there was a little bit of, like, physical stuff that happened that was, like, more so, like, could lead to, like, down, like, a bad road, so, like, as much as I was, like, heartbroken being out of this relationship, I know that getting out of it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Even whenever it was like, okay, I took myself out, me looking back at it to be like, I was fighting for this. I was fighting for a dandelion instead of fighting for a sunflower. You know, it made no sense. And I could only see, as much as it was when I was completely out, that it would be like to fight back and get myself back into that situation would be the complete wrong move because there was nothing good there. I really, really, really hope this story does help somebody that's gonna see it because that's what I want. Like, even those early, like, warning signs of what was happening and I was just, like, conforming to, like, what he wanted just to show how bad, like, how much I wanted to show so badly that I was such a good person and such, like, a good girl, like, such a gem, that I completely lost sight of, like, what I needed in return, which was like someone to be a gem back to me, and I wasn't getting that at all. So anyways, guys, that is the final finale of Dating a Psycho Sag. I want you guys to really like let me know what you would have done in the situation. What video would you have left at if you would have left at all? How far did you go into your relationship before you realized you were fighting for a dandelion? Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye.